We're on D Street tonight. It's the last neighborhood the train travels through on its way south. The first opportunity, illegals who just swam the river have to hop on board and then go north. You see, Mexico is just a few blocks behind me. We wanted to know exactly what it's like riding the rails, running from law enforcement and hiding. We found out it's a lot harder than you might think. Across the Rio Grande, if you have no money, riding the rails is the only way to go. You need no ticket, only the courage to take a risk and the ability to cling on for dear life. Riders say they were raped, tortured, and robbed by the cartels trying to gain control of the trains. It's not an easy way, but for many, it's the only way. Increased scrutiny by Mexican and U.S. law enforcement means fewer people can hitch a ride to opportunity over the Rio Grande. Things change on this side of the border.
I see emptiness now.
Something has happened that has no people coming from across the border on the boxcars.
A single stretch of track runs in front of George and Consuelo Mejorado's home. It's the first stretch of rails in America, where if you live in the right spot, you can see the freight trains snaking in from Mexico through the heart of Brownsville.
Only the people that live along this area know the stories that happen around the railroad.
This neighborhood once overlooked the bustling Amigo Land switching yard.
It was a very busy area, this railroad, very busy area. It's not just the train that goes once that way and back.
Train cars used to be loaded and unloaded right in front of the Mejorado's home. Cargo was always on the move. So were people. Strangers would lose themselves in the never-ending maze of metal, boxcars, and goods. Big 100-ton cars provided a free ride to a better life. It often started on George and Consuelo's front porch.
They would take the freight train back up north. When the train would stop there on the yard, they would run over here during the night and ask for water, sandwiches.
They were always asking for a train that was headed to Houston. All the illegal people that would come, and they would come and ask for food because they would sleep there.
The Mejorados say they see fewer people now. The days of hopping the train to ride the rails are nearly gone. The retired couple rarely crosses paths with people headed north now.
Maybe they're being checked across the border before they get back into the United States.
Just as you see it now quiet, it has its stories, its tragic stories. You know, it has ended lives here in this area.
Mariano Alvarez made it past the Mejorados porch. We caught up with him in the rail yard. He's working here in the valley, waiting for the right train north.
Yeah, the first time I came here was on May 22nd, 2001.
He was 19.
I just crossed the border, the river on Brownsville area. I just passed the river. I just catch the train a couple miles away from Brownsville.
Alvarez's journey is a long and treacherous one. It started in his home state of Quintana Roo. That's an area near Cancun. He hopped a bus there and traveled down the Mexican coastline all the way to the U.S.-Mexico border in Matamoros. Took him about 4 days to finally get there. He waited in Matamoros for about 2 months for his opportunity to swim across the Rio Grande. He hopped a train in Brownsville. That took him from Houston to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and finally his final destination in Tallahassee, Florida, where he worked on farms and also Chinese restaurants. His entire journey from Quintana Roo all the way to Florida taking just over 2 months.
Hey, with the Chinese people, because I started to work in a Chinese restaurant. So I have to learn some English. Now I'm proud of that because now I can talk to you in another language. I can talk to somebody else from this country in their own language.
Alvarez is headed north on the rails again in search of work one last time.
The transportation in the train is very dangerous. Do you see these wheels? This is only metal. if you put your foot on the railroad, this one is gonna cut it, right? So you can lose your legs, your hands.
The grinding, screeching weight causes the rails to bend and bow. Many illegals come here carrying desperation, but little else that can push them to take risks most of us would never take.
If you take the road, you take a car, you take a ride in a car, there is a checkpoint of the immigration, right? The immigration is, they check your passport, they check that you got visa, you got papers to be here.
Alvarez escapes all that on the rails. He bypasses the checkpoints.
My dream is to have a big farm in my country. So, now I'm trying to make a chicken farm for now, but with the time I grew up, I'm gonna have some pigs, cows later, grow up vegetables.
Alvarez is chasing that dream on a train. He'll earn what money he can, then go home to Mexico.
I don't have to come here again. I don't have to take the train again. I don't have to have problems anymore with the immigration from USA, so I don't have to risk my life.
Alvarez may be one of the last to ride the rails to hope. The government's concern about the violence across the border is causing it to take a closer look at who and what is being hidden in the metal maze. That means less opportunities for people like Alvarez.
Without knowing if they're going to get a job or it's going to get worse for them, but they're risking it all.
The Mejorados say the world came to them in a boxcar on these tracks. They met people from everywhere. They're chasing a dream. They take a chance by riding the rails. Polo Sandoval, Channel 5 News at 10.